All right, Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. Welcome to our Wednesday class on Yalkut Yosef. We are in the heart of the halachot of Berkat Cohanim, and thank God this week a real Kohen has joined us so that it can go directly to where it needs to go, Bezrat Hashem.
God bless
Amen, amen. Thank you, Kohen. From your word, from your mouth. All right. So regarding washing our hands, the Kohen has to usually wash his hands until here. This is the right location. What happens on Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur? Uncle Mike, do you know the answer? Do you
you. You
remember?
just do the first part of your fingers, the first.
So up to here. So
Yeah,
what you said right now is right for everybody that wakes up in the morning and does Netilat Yadayim. But when you go up to Berkat Cohanim on Yom Kippur, on Tisha B'Av, you fully wash your hands. Did you know that? You get a full bath on your hands. That's the
really.
Yeah, the Kohanim, their hands have to be perfectly pure for the action, and therefore they get that extra water. So that's the chidush. That even though we're not supposed to wash our hands, even going to the bathroom, only up to here, but for Berkat Kohanim, right? It's a special thing, and they get to wash their hands. Now, why? Who knows this? Uncle Mike, maybe don't answer all the questions. You give others a chance. But why does the Kohanim? Why do they take off their shoes for Berkat Kohanim? Why can't somebody do it with shoes? There's a discussion, by the way, today if it can or cannot be done with shoes. But typically, the Kohanim take off their shoes, and the question is why. Anybody have an idea?
On the ground. They're in front of Hashem.
Yeah, we learned this in Masechet Rosh Hashanah. It was because they might, if their shoes were untied, they might have to touch their they might have to go down to tie their shoes, and people might think, oh, this person is not really a Kohen, and he's trying to go out of there, and he might get embarrassed, and
We are in
so that's
presence
why they tell them to take off their shoes.
we are in presence of a walking Yalkut Yosef over here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, gentlemen.
No, this is
Hazak
all
Baruch.
Rabbi Adam's Gemara
So
class.
actually, that's one of the ta'amim, one of the reasonings that the Gemara gives. So the Gemara gives two. Do you remember? So the second one you said it. The second one is as he said that if in case his lace is open and he's going to bend down to time and he's not going to be busy with the Berkat Cohanim, people are going to think, oh, it's not a Kohen, not a kosher Kohen. If there's a problem with him. And the first reason that is brought, also brought in the Yalkut Yosef, is that maybe his shoes are going to be dirty. Your shoes are not always perfectly clean, right? So if they are dirty, it's not honor of the tzibur to walk up on the stage with dirty shoes. Now today you'll say, how dirty are my shoes going to be? But imagine when streets were not paved, back in the Gemara time, full of dust, and it could grab people's attention and it could be not kavod. So those may be surprising reasons, but that's the reasoning. That's why they take off the shoes. I would think, what do you mean? When Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem told him, take off your shoes from your feet because you're standing in a holy place. I thought that maybe it's a holy ceremony. That's not the answer. There's importance, and we'll see it more and more here, what the tzibur, what the people are going to think about. Did I freeze? Oh, okay, I unfroze. Okay, Baruch Hashem.
We heard you.
Sorry?
We heard you.
You heard me. Okay, Baruch Hashem.
Actually, I heard from a Ashkenazi rabbi that shoes were symbols of you. So you're taking off your shoe to show that you don't have any gava and you're working for people.
Wow.
I don't know if
That's a beautiful idea. The beautiful idea.
Rabbi Toker told me once, yeah.
That's a beautiful idea. It's not one of the reasons of the Gemara, but it's one of those reasonings that have like a message within them. I think it's beautiful. The shoes are you. Let's elaborate on the shoes are you, meaning back then, a person that was poor, he did not have shoes. The shoe
Right.
represents, I'm able to walk. I'm a somebody. When you take off the shoes, like it's as if you don't have that protection from the snakes and the scorpions, and you're nothing. And so, because it's important to know the Berkat Cohanim, it's not the Kohen giving a bracha to the people. We always joke like as if, but really, it's a bracha that Hashem gives to us through the
Yes.
Kohanim. They are the tzino, the pipe. So once you take off your shoes, it's as if I'm nothing. I'm just a pipe. It's like a reminder. It's a very nice idea. Chazak u'baruch, beautiful. I'm going to add that to my reason. What did you say the rabbi's name was?
Rabbi Toker. Simon knows him.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I see a lot of Syrians don't take off their shoes. nowadays.
So there is a discussion about it. Nowadays, the shoes, it's not like it used to be. But of course, the classic way and the way that the Gemara said, we take off our shoes. That's the
Yeah,
moral.
we should.
However, the Chachamim bring down that the Achronim said that these days, it's more right to go up with socks. Don't go up on the stage barefoot, even though some people I've seen do it as well. But he says it's more right to go on. No, I don't know what's happening with somebody's feet these days. You don't want people to get distracted. That's the idea. That people have to be focused on receiving the bracha right now. You see something, a nail, this, that, so cover it. That's the idea, but not shoes. Now, what happens regarding the first time, the first word, Yevarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha? I'm asking because there are two customs. There's one custom that the Chazan says, Yevarecha, Yevarecha, Hashem, Hashem. But there's another custom that the Cohanim read the beracha, and then they say the first Yevarecha before the Chazan reads it to him. Have you ever seen that happen? I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen it. What do you do? What's your custom?
No, Mashadi is we only wait for the.
You wait for the Chazan.
Yeah, this wasn't a Mashadi synagogue.
So there are actually sources for both of them, for both of these ways. But really, Rabbeinu Bechaye, I heard this, that he says that it's more right that the Chazan should do it, at least according to the Kabbalah, according to the Sod, because the Chazan has a job here. In Kabbalah, it's called the Yesod. He has a job to influence. And it's clearly said in the Pasuk as well, Kotev Alchul B'nai Israel, Amor Lahem, you should tell them. But some still have a source that it only begins from the second word. Each community should do what they're used to. What Rabbeinu Bechaye says, according to the Kabbalah, it's better to wait for the Chazan and to say word after him. All right. Now, this happens often. Someone goes up to be a Chazan, but they have a special singer, a special Chazan in the crowd, so they want him to do the Cohanim, or in our community, Mr. Zar, and almost every minyan that he's there, they give him the kavod with his beautiful voice. He does that emotional Berkat Cohanim, right? So that's like a classic moment. So is that a right thing? The answer is yes. There's a source to that even though I'm the Chazan or you're the Chazan, we bring an outsider to do Berkat Cohanim. There is a source to that. So what happens when you're Chazan, and you usually say, Yevarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, you're not going to answer Amen, you're the Chazan, you're in the middle of Amidah. But now, it's as if you're put aside, and the singer, or the Chazan, or whatever he is, the side singer, let's call him, the Paitan, it's called in Hebrew, he is going to do the Berkat Cohanim. As a Chazan, do I answer Amen now? Because I'm on the side? There are four times to answer Amen. One, for the bracha itself. Asher kidishanu v'kdosh lahom v'tzivanu levarechet amo Yisrael be'ahava. Bracha number 1. And then Yevarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, another Amen. V'yichuneka, another Amen. V'yasem lecha shalom, another Amen. There are 4 amens in potential here. So what happens here? How do the amens spread now between the Chazan and the singer? So the answer is that if your place was taken as a Chazan, it's as if you're an outsider now. And you answer all 4 amens. All 4. You're the Chazan, yet you're answering amens. It's a very special case. Chazan usually, I'm representing the crowd. Now I'm being represented, but that's what happens here. And regarding him, the singer, he only answers Amen to the 4th, V'yasem lecha shalom. Because at that Amen, his job just finished. So when he said shalom, as if his job finished, and now the real Chazan comes in. So for that, they both answer Amen. They both answer Amen, then the regular Chazan continues, and he gets off the stage. All right. Let me close the door here. You guys are hearing the noise, but I'm definitely hearing the noise. Okay. Now, regarding till what point, I don't know if we mentioned this last week or not, but either way, until what point can the Chazan, when the Chazan is reading Berkat Cohanim, can the Kohen come and join the Berkat Cohanim, right? There's a limit. You can't just do it until each point. So the answer is that really, halakha, the dry halakha is until Retzeh. Retzeh Hashem Elokeinu be'amcha Yisrael ve'litzuyatan she'eh. That's the last moment. Excuse me just one moment. It's making noise. Okay. The last time that he could come up the stage is Retzeh. However, Yalkut Yosef brings down that really, even until Modim, as long as the word Modim did not begin, the Kohen could start walking towards the stage. As we mentioned, it's not just walking towards the stage. Even if he started walking towards the washing station, the fact that he made a step towards the Berkat Cohanim is considered being so lekatchila until Retzeh. But even if he missed it, as long as Modim didn't happen, they also allow. Now, this is a case where I have never seen happen, but I'm wondering if you guys have ever seen. Yalkut Yosef brings it down. A chazan was a chazan, and he skipped Birkat Cohanim. And nobody in the crowd noticed. Until when? Until he finished Atov Shimcha Ulecha Na'eh Leodot, and he started Sim Shalom, and as he's about to say, Baruch Ata Hashem HaMevarech et Amo Yisrael B'Shalom, he said, oh my God, we just skipped Birkat Cohanim. What do? Do we go back, or since I already started Sim Shalom, I'm cut, and I cannot continue? The answer is, Uncle Mike, what do you think? Okay, I don't want to catch you off.
No, it's like I've never saw this ever before.
It's not common. It's like you have to be a specific minyan that people are not so focused, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden they wake up to this. But let's say
I assume they have to go back and say it.
Yeah.
So there is a machloket on this. There are two opinions. One say go back because you didn't finish the Shmoneh. One say no, once you skipped, you can't go back. And what is the din? Whenever we have a machloket, what do we say? Safek berachot leakel. We should be lenient, so don't risk saying the Berkat Cohanim. There's a bracha there, Baruch Ata, the Cohanim say a bracha. And what if by saying that bracha, they're saying a bracha levatala? So we do not risk that at all. And we say, since there's a machloket here, Safek brachot leakel, and we do not say a bracha. All right. Now, what happens, and this happens often, at least in our community, I've seen this, where the grandfather or the father is putting his talit on the children, and as the chazan is saying Yivachecha, Yivachecha, he starts reading Pesukim. I remember a lot of Mashalis have this custom. Yalkut Yosef says, really? How can you do that? How can you be reading stuff, Pesukim, out loud? Because he says like this, Yesh evet shirabo mevarcho ve'ino ma'azin, which means, is there a servant that is being blessed by his master and he is not listening? How can you listen when you are saying Pesukim? So even though I know probably some of your grandparents did this, some of mine did it as well, but in that case, the right thing to do is not to do anything. Put your hands on the kids. Yes, there is a source to that, even though it's not such a common source, but one of the rabbis brought down that there is a source. Arav Mazuz, they asked him, they said, there's no source to this. Why do people come under the talit? A lot of rabbis say there's no source to this. Arav Mazuz, he who, you know, his the huge yeshiva in Bnei Brak, he's one of the Gedolim of Israel today, and he knows sources for everything. You come to him, so you actually know, don't say there's no source. And he found a source to this, that the fathers put the talit on the children for Berkat Cohanim. But no saying Psukim, says the Yalkut Yosef, because you are receiving now a bracha. So how can you, there's a concept in salting meat. When you want to kosher the meat, then you're allowed to put tons of meat one on top of the other and salt them. And the question is, why are we allowed to do that? Because if I'm salting the meat on top, okay, what does it do? It takes out all the blood. That's the idea. But then if there's more meat underneath, maybe the blood that's coming out is going to go into the meat underneath. There's logic to that. Halakha says, no, don't worry. Because as long as meat is busy spitting out, or whatever you want to call it, the blood, it cannot receive. By the way, this is also in real life. When a person is arguing with you and he's still busy on releasing what he wants to release, he's not able to hear the other side. All right, you just can't do that. So anyway, that relates a little bit to here, where if I'm busy accepting the Berkat Cohanim right now, I can't do anything else. But if I'm saying Psukim, then how can I focus on receiving? That's the Yalkut Yosef, don't read Psukim.
Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What if you're not saying anything, but in your heart you're blessing your child through the blessing?
So first of all, by not saying, you're already, you're not verbalizing, and it doesn't block you from receiving. But I understand the feeling. What we want is the blessing to go to the children. But honestly, if you ask me as a gut feeling, the best way to pass down the bracha to them is by being there to receive it. Because really, we are not blessing our children in this moment. It's a feeling that we give. Maybe the custom was to put a talit on them because we don't want the kids looking at the Cohanim, so we cover their eyes. But it's not like we are giving the bracha. Who's giving the bracha? The bracha is coming from Hashem through the Cohanim. So the best thing to do is to have their ears open and your ears open as well, because the bracha is coming into you. By having these kavanot, you're not affecting the children. The only kavanah you should have is the kavanah of the words that the Cohanim. And I recommend to learn each one what it means. I remember in 8th grade they taught us each word what it means, so that when you're getting the bracha, have in mind that you want to receive it right now. But I don't think you should have in mind to also give something. You're not a giver in this moment. This is a moment where you're just accepting. Even though it feels like you're giving the children, it's not really happening. They, just like you, are receiving at this moment. So your focus should be on just receiving and accepting what's coming in. I think that's the right way to do it.
Thank you.
All right. What about looking at Cohanim? Is that a problem? So we all know that we don't want anyone to look at the Cohanim. But the Poskim bring down that back in the day, they used to do Berkat Cohanim with the Shem HaMeforash, the real name of Hashem, the real name that today we don't verbalize, right? So that was something that was in a higher level of holiness. And therefore they said, don't look at the Cohanim when they're saying that name. You felt the divine presence, I guess, dwelling on them. It was something big. Don't look at that. There's not danger in that. But today they say you're not supposed to stare. But if you caught a glimpse of them, it's okay. Nothing happened. Even though nothing happened, because the Shem HaMeforash, the real name of Hashem, is not being said, says the Yalkut Yosef, but Zecher LaMikdash, but so that we remember how really the Berkat Cohanim used to be, better not to look at all. But if your child or you caught a glimpse, don't be scared. The Shem HaMeforash was not said, then it's not a real problem. Just don't stare. That's the main thing. Now, as people that are now being blessed by Hashem or through the Cohanim, what is the right place for us to stand? So we mentioned this also. We have to stand behind the line of the closest Kohen, right? Because the bracha only goes to whoever is behind him. Even if it's on the side and behind him, it's okay. But if you're all the way in the front, that would be a problem. Now, regarding a Kohen that is problematic for him to come on stage, who are we talking about? So the Yalkut Yosef says, if the Kohen has a mum is like a blemish, an imperfection in his hands, he shouldn't do Berkat Cohanim. Why? Because the crowd is going to look at him. He's doing actions with his hand. The crowd is going to look at him. It's going to cause them to be distracted, and they're not going to be there to concentrate on receiving the beracha. However, says the Yalkut Yosef, if he is a known Kohen, and he says, what does known mean? Known means that he's already 30 days in the city. So everybody's seen him on the street. You saw him in the middle of the road. Everybody knows he has a problem. He has this. It's not a surprise for you. It's not going to cause you a distraction. If a person has a scar or something like that, the first time you see it, after a while, you don't feel it anymore, right? You get used to it. So that's the halacha with Berkat Cohanim. If he has a problem with his hand, like a scratch or a scar on his hands or face, if he is new to the town, don't go there. But if you've been there already a month or you live there, then of course it won't be a problem. Adds the Yalkut Yosef that today, since the hands and face are completely covered anyway, because we have a talit above us that covers all of that, and also the imperfections of the feet, he says, are covered with socks, meaning if you would have an imperfection in your foot, then there's no real reason not to go up the stage for those type of problems, right? Simon, before the class began, asked about someone that killed somebody by mistake or on purpose. Let's see what happens over there. We'll get to it. What about if someone's hand, chas v'chalila, lo alenu, he doesn't have a hand? Is that a problem? So over there's a machloket. There's a machloket whether he can do Berkat Cohanim or not. So concludes the Yalkut Yosef that if he's just missing lo alenu, just the fingers, he could still do Berkat Cohanim. But if he's missing the whole palm, even one of them, then because of the safek, he said, someone shouldn't go up to Berkat Cohanim. This halakha should never be, come to reality, but we're learning what's the right way. What about a band-aid or a cast? Says the Yalkut Yosef, that is not a chatzitza. You would think maybe it's like blocking. No, you have a band-aid or something like that. That's not a problem. You could go up with that. Now, interesting case, we see it with Baalei Teshuvah, a tattoo. What if someone has a big tattoo, right? Now, it could be a tattoo that is hidden, right? Or it could be something that stands out like crazy. I used to work in a building, it's called a Toyota building in Tel Aviv, when I used to do portfolio managing. And our neighbor, I don't know what he did there, but whatever he did there, he had two bodyguards with him at all time. One of them was this huge, jacked Russian guy, crazy tattoo all over his face. Crazy. Like, now imagine this guy one day does teshuvah and he goes up to Cohanim. Everybody's going to see that huge tattoo on his face as he's going to Cohanim. What do you do with that? Is that okay? Is that not okay? And you have many teshuvah, many balei teshuvah, especially if you go to the mikveh. You see so many people that have all over their body all different types of tattoos that they did teshuvah, Baruch Hashem. They came back to their father. But if you're a kohen and you're representing on stage, what's the din? So says the Yalkut Yosef, if it's hidden, then that's not a problem at all, especially if you didn't even want the tattoo. Like, for example, the people in the Holocaust, they put tattoos on them, even though the crowd may look at it and may distract them and no, but since it's, Holocaust survivor that he didn't want the tattoo, or if it's hidden, it's not a problem. However, if it's, from here we conclude that if it is something visual that everybody can see, better not to go up. What about a kohen that is not, says the Yalkut Yosef, medakdek b'mitzvot? He's not meticulous on mitzvot. He doesn't keep mitzvot. He doesn't care about tefillin. He doesn't care about kosher. He doesn't keep mitzvot. Can he go up to the dukhan? Or we say, no, a guy like you, what are you? You're going to go up to the dukhan, but you don't do anything? What do you say? What's the halacha?
I would say yes.
I think he goes.
Very good. Good
Yes,
answer.
yes.
Good answer. Good answer. Chazaku Baruch. The Kohen goes up. You know why he goes up? I love this. I love this answer by the Yalkut Yosef. He says, because this is his mitzvah. If a person doesn't keep kosher, so you tell him, also don't put on tefillin because you're not keeping kosher, it's a mitzvah that he has and only he has. We can do it. You're going to take away a mitzvah from him? He's a Jew. Any mitzvah that he does helps us. So why prevent mitzvot from him? Let him have his mitzvah. All of this he says regarding someone that is not meticulous on mitzvot. But there is one mitzvah that the Yalkut Yosef brings down, that if he is a mechalel Shabbat befarhesia, if he doesn't keep Shabbat publicly, by the way, there's a big discussion, what does it mean someone that doesn't keep Shabbat publicly? There's a big machloket. Some people hold that if he would do it, if the rabbi passes by and he would have no shame and he would do it in front of him, or if he would do it in front of 10 people, or if we know about it, it's not considered. Only if we actually saw it. There's a lot of discussion around this. Some opinions hold that today we don't really have Mechalel Shabbat B'Fares. Like, these are all like Jews that just were never taught properly. But let's say that we do find someone that there's a consensus on him that he is a Mechalel Shabbat B'Faresia, someone that is purposely going against the halacha and not keeping Shabbat. Him, says the Yalkut Yosef, it's better for him not to go up. But what if he wants to go up? Sometimes this guy that's not, keeping that, he won't listen to us if we tell him. He says, no, only in Darkei Noam. In soft ways, explain to him. But if he still why? Says the Yalkut Yosef, en kategor na'asa sanegor. What does that mean? How can somebody that is, drowning the ship now coming and representing? I guess that the Mechalel Shabbat is something very, fundamental. It's not like not being meticulous on mitzvah. That's how they see it. So therefore, recommended not to. But if you explain to him, it says, it's not halacha, don't fight about this. If he still wants to go up, you can't prevent him from doing that. Try to convince him in nice ways, but we don't take someone off the stage. It's a very, some topics are very sensitive, and by doing certain things, you can make a person now hate their religion, never come back to the religion. You have to be very careful. I look up to Rabbi Ben Chaim so much and how he manages certain cases, and certain things are not always exactly according to the dry halacha. But the Chachamim say there are 4 parts of Shulchan Aruch. No, there are 4 parts, but there's also a 5th part. The 5th part is the common sense, is the brain. It's looking at the situation and seeing that even though the halacha says this, but sometimes you have to change the halacha. I think we brought this case once in São Paulo in Brazil. The rabbis over there made a halacha that if there's a Brit Milah that should be on Shabbat, we don't do it on Shabbat. Even though it's the 8th day, we push it off to Sunday. Because the rabbis saw that so many people are doing Chilul Shabbat, and the family is coming with cars, and everybody's coming with cars. What are we gaining here? We want to bring a child into the Ol Mitzvot, to put him in a Brit Milah, in the Brit Avraham Avinu, and by doing that, we're going to make so much Averot into the world. What are we gaining by that? Then they say that the halacha is, okay, even though the halacha is, the Torah says loud and clear, Bayom HaShmini, on the 8th day, it's from the Torah. But the rabbis, especially outside of Israel, they have the ability to go something that seems like it's against the Torah, because they have their fifth part of Shulchan Aruch. They have their common sense. So a lot of these topics are sensitive, and according to the rabbi of the Bet Knesset, he will know what to do in the wisest manner. Now, regarding Simon's question, somebody killed somebody. What if it's a soldier in the army? What if Chas v'Chalila it's an accident? What is the din in this case? All right. So first of all, you should know the problem only begins if you killed, if somebody killed a Jew. By killing a goy, there is no problem. Killing a goy, no problem. So if a soldier killed an Arab, you're not going to tell him don't go up to Berkat Cohanim. But if a Jew killed another Jew, even by mistake, all right, then we say en kategor nasa senegor. Somebody that is did something to drown the ship is now going to come and represent. That's the expression. Even if he came out innocent in court, court says it wasn't your fault. The little boy jumped into the street. Okay, the little boy jumped. It wasn't my fault. But chas v'chalila. But in that case, still, since the blood, you can make it go away, then you don't go up to Berkat Cohanim. That's what the Yalkut Yosef brings down. He says, but the Ashkenazim are lenient with that. The Ashkenazim hold that if he did teshuvah, and he did it by mistake, not on purpose. If he did it on purpose, everybody agrees. You killed another Jew on purpose, do 1,000 teshuvot, you can't go up. You killed another Jew by mistake, the Ashkenazim hold that if you did proper teshuvah on it, and you don't, you left it behind you, then you are allowed to go up. Even to the Sfaradim, if it were an accident, but the person chas v'chalila didn't die right away, it took him, let's say, a few days or a week or something like it, it didn't happen on the spot, it's not considered that you killed him for Berkat Cohanim and you would still be allowed. So the only way that you will be prevented from you is if chas v'chalila it was done and on the moment somebody passed away. All right. Now, sorry, I said something not true before. I said shogeg. Sorry, I said shogeg. Shogeg is when someone did it by mistake. But regarding ones, I said it wrong before. Shogeg means I wasn't careful. I didn't mean to do it. But if it was an ones where he jumped under, or like someone jumped into the car, then we allow. Sorry, I said it wrong before. Only if it's by mistake, then still you can't go up. But if it was done, it wasn't my mistake, how can I have control over it? Then says the Yalkut Yosef, you will be allowed. Now, what if someone was, listen to this case, I don't know if we'll finish with this, let's see. Someone was a mohel, he has a brit milah, lo alenu, this should never happen, but the brit milah caused the baby, lo alenu, to pass. I don't know if he did a mistake or whatever, but the baby died. Is there a problem with a kohen like that to go up on stage? And the answer over there is that he can go up to the Berkat Cohanim. Why? Because he was doing a mitzvah. The fact that the mitzvah ended up causing a problem, he didn't mean for it, but since he was involved in a mitzvah, then he goes up on the stage. What about a kohen with a catheter, an older kohen that has a problem with his urine and he needs a catheter? Are we going to prevent him from Berkat Cohanim? Says the Yalkut Yosef, as long as there's no smell or no drops that are visually coming out, then it's not a problem and he could go to Berkat Cohanim. But if there's a smell, then that would be a problem, or if drops are coming out. All right. If there's time for one more, let's leave this for next time. We'll continue next time from here. Guys, we have very few halachot left until we finish Tefilat Amidah. And then we're going to have a test as our custom. So we have, I'm going to prepare something with Hashem, but have in mind, we're going to do a review. We're on our way to finish from the beginning of the Siddur until the end of Amidah. There's still more to come, but we've gone a long way. Thank
you, Ziv.
Thank you.
Everybody.
God Baruch.
you. Bye-bye.
Refuah Shalom, Ziv.
Amen. Thank you.